Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. It's Maver here with episode 5 of Majo no Tabitabi. So, what is there to talk about, right? I think at this point, my biggest interest in the series is actually trying to figure out what exactly motivates Elaina to go forward, to do her travels, and perhaps even more importantly, how she decides whether to intervene in a situation or not. Because it still isn't entirely clear why she helps some people and refuses to help others. Well, I guess shouldn't say refuse, but just doesn't care about others, let's just say. And I do think that trying to figure out her personality is probably going to be one of the fun things going forward in this series, at least for me, anyways. So, we were just greeted with a rather tragic ending in the last episode, and the episode before that as well. So, I think it's about time that we get a event with a happy ending, maybe, perhaps? Well, let's get into it and find out. Alright, let's begin in 3, 2, 1, play. Elaina, are you gonna spoil the story again? We keep getting spoiled because she comments on stuff at the very beginning. Oh, a Fran? Yeah, is this... Oh, it is Fran. Six months ago? Huh. You know, I'm kind of wondering whether or not everything that we are seeing right here is actually all part of her memories right now. Like she's literally reading from her book in the future, her diary in the future, right? The Adventures of Elaina. I think that might be possible. I mean, how many times has this been now where she mentioned she was minded of a story a few months back or something like that? So since, you know, a lot of the stories are done this way, we can even go a step further and say perhaps all of this is actually when Elaina has finally decided to settle down. Once again though, it must be nice to just travel around the world, carefree in the world, and actually still have a pretty decent style of living as well, since she is a witch, right? Which I guess you can regard in some respects as the upper class of this world. Was that a frozen fish? Royal Celestial. Mm. Mm. All male mages at this point. Well, how else do you think she got into it? Oh. Oh. It's the actual people from the academy, I guess. Yeah, that's not suspicious at all. Okay, suddenly we're at Hogwarts or something. Ah, they're still students. Well, this is an actual full-fledged witch. How are you guys supposed to catch her, though? Okay. I'm assuming that, like, in a while, their teacher's gonna come. It's probably like a test of some sort. Oh, is it Fran? Aha. Hello. Ah. Yeah, this is like 3 years later, right? So she's actually teaching here? I think the reason why she knew it was Elena was probably also because nobody else would be like Elena, and just decide to waltz in there. You never even wrote home? Yeah, her mom is probably a witch as well. I've been thinking about that ever since the first episode. Oh, wait. Okay. Nostalgic. So either her or Elena's mom. One of them might be Nikkei or Fola. She's like, please help me. Mm. We're probably learning of that right now. Hey. Yeah. Definitely her or her mom. One of them is Nikkei or Fola. I thought you guys were supposed to ask questions about match. Oh! Elena's like, ah, that sort of brings me back. Okay, that one is probably... Oh, just lifting the entire Oh. Perfect. Fireworks? Okay. Should I call him talented? A nice town by the seaside. Really reminds me of Kiki's delivery service. Which probably was what inspired me to liking witches in the first place, loving witches in the first place. Kiki's delivery service. Taking a bath? Oh, reading. this is a nice little meeting here. I miss her. I think it might be a little bit grander than that. That's how she treats the world. Okay. Ah, here it is. Ooh. A flower butterfly. Aww. For some reason, this feels so very touching to me. Aww. Yeah, now that, you know, with this kind of ending, watashi da. Yeah, with this kind of ending every single episode, I definitely do kind of feel that we are actually essentially reading her stories, reading her book. Anyways, that was a nice little episode. I'll see you guys after this. Oh, actually, there's a little bit left at the end. I guess we're going back to the beginning and see what happens there. So let's watch this together in 3, 2, 1, play. Yeah, she's gonna have some ammunition to tease her. Alright, see you guys after this. Alrighty, so as I said at the very beginning, it was a time for the series to maybe go back to some, you know, happy endings, some feel-good episodes, right? And this one certainly fulfilled it to a T. One thing I want to talk about first, though, is in the you know, the mystery of these legendary witches, these legendary travelers, right? Because I think at this point I'm like 80-90% certain that Nikke, right, the Nikke from the Adventures of Nikke, which inspired Elaina to travel, is most probably her mom. Right? And then not only that, but Fala, the apprentice that Nikke took on at the very end there, I'm thinking is most probably Fran. And it really makes a lot of sense. Even back in the first episode, I was wondering, like, why did Elena's mom have no problem with Elaina, you know, traveling, trying to become a witch, or even traveling the world and all that? She seemed very supportive of all these decisions, right? Like, I mean, sure, parents are supposed to be supportive of their children and whatnot, but she was like, yeah, sure, do that, Elaina, and I am not going to stop you one bit, right? So at that point, I was already a little bit suspicious of her true origins. But with this, and you know, with the dialogue with Fran and all that, I definitely feel that Nikke is probably Elena's mom. You know, she's now settled down in a nice little house, a nice little cottage with her husband, living an ordinary life, right? And then Fran, of course, Again, I do feel that she is probably the fella from the stories, and that when she was talking about, oh, people thought that her lost bag was that of a legendary traveler and whatnot. No, I think that's actually her. So her herself. So she was inspired also to travel by Nikke, and decided to write her own stories, etc., etc. And now, the lineage continues on. It's Elena's turn to do all that, and then eventually write her own stories, write her own adventures at the very end. Which, again, I'm thinking we are probably reading right now. I think the whole premise of this series actually. This is just a wild guess in the dark here, but I'm thinking, with the way that she talks and with the way that she opens each story and ends each story, I have a feeling that essentially we are reading her journals, her diary, her adventures, after the fact, right? So right now, within the universe, in real time, she's probably already done with her adventures, probably found a place to settle down, etc., etc., and now she has published this book and we are reading through it and then going to the past of Elaina instead, whereas she's actually present day, I don't know, a grown up, whatever, right? So, that's quite fun. We're probably not going to be seeing anything or any kind of confirmation onto that until, way later on, and definitely not in this series, I don't think, not in this anime series, but it is an interesting thing to think about. Beyond that, we also had a little glimpse into, a little more glimpse into Elena's personality as well, which was very telling during the, the farewell scene, right? So her brain definitely operates a little bit differently from normal people, right? So when she was faced with the choice of having a heartfelt farewell and whatnot versus, just leaving silently, she chose the latter because, well, it is a kind of a self-centered decision, I guess you could say, not taking the others' feelings into account, but I do feel that she is just wholly focused on what can allow her to continue her travels. So she's worried that if she does have this feeling of nostalgia, this feeling of longingness to stay in one place, she's not going to be able to travel anymore. So she made the logical decision to just directly go. But, I mean, I'm not really to be honest, I don't really feel that the actual ending was any less heartfelt or heartwarming. In fact, I felt very touched by that scene for some reason or the other. Even though it was simple, we didn't even get to know these other students for very long. But I don't know, just the atmosphere of it really touched me in a way. So that was a nice little scene. I love that we saw Fran once again. It's one thing to see Elaina be a grown up and then do things like this and that, and being a cordial witch, a respected witch, and so on and so forth, right? She's now mostly talking from the perspective of a peer to anyone that she actually meets. At least of equal footing, because she is a fully fledged witch now, right? But being able to see Fran interact with her, and this sort of student-teacher relationship that they still have, I don't know, it's just so nice to see, and I loved it. This is probably my favorite episode so far, beyond episode 1. Just the general vibe of this, and even the town as well. I can definitely see why Elaina would say that this is her favorite place that she's traveled to so far. I mean, we've only seen a few places, right? But this town, it's a little quaint little town by the seaside. We see people doing their best to carry on their lives, doing things because they like to. We see the magicians, the mages, the witches, earning an honest living as well, just helping people do this and that, using magic for convenience, for everyday goods. It's just the general vibe, the general atmosphere of this is just so nice. Again, it reminds me a lot of Kiki's Delivery Service, which is one of Miyazaki's works from Studio Ghibli. I know that it's it's fairly overshadowed by a lot of Miyazaki's other works, Ghibli's other works. But honestly, out of all his works, I actually love Kiki's Delivery Service the most. It's probably the one that I watched over and over and over when I was a child. And again, it's probably the reason why I love witches so much in the first place now that I'm all grown up. And I guess you could also say that by essence, that's probably you can also say that's the reason why I'm watching this series in the first place. Because if I didn't have this love for witches, I would have passed this on. I think. So, anyways, that was a nice feel-good episode. Loved it. And well, we have to just savor it as much as we can, because next episode we are going to be in another story. So I'll see you guys then. Bye bye.